Hi, I'm Bill Hobson from Michigan Golf Live, and this is Jay Eccleton from the Emerald Golf Course in St. John's, Michigan. And no, we don't always dress alike. Just is a random occurrence because we wanted to come together and help with this video to launch an effort that has the potential, we believe, to change a very important part of the high school sports calendar in a way that will impact not just the student athletes that are in that sport, but we think that the game of golf will be impacted dramatically by a change. So here's what we're talking about. Right now, every boy who plays high school golf in the state of Michigan plays in the spring. They spend 3 or 4 weeks hitting golf balls into a net in a high school hallway before heading out into competition in the snow and the freezing rain, wearing parkas, ski caps, mittens, and being asked to perform at a high level.
Right.
And it makes no sense whatsoever. In this video, we won't spend a lot of time talking about why that is, but just so you know, it didn't used to be that way. The boys used to play in the fall until a court decision that is a disaster, frankly, changed a lot of things, including boys golf. Our goal is to get it to change back to the fall. Why?
Well, you know, we got to look at things in a broader scope. We talk about boys golf and the inconvenience of being able to play, but it not only affects the boys, it affects the golf course operator, it affects the teachers, the education of the student, the scheduling in general is a very difficult thing. So what we're finding is that we could get better quality golf, develop a love for the game for the high school golfers so that they could carry that forward 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So if you look at the growth of the game, and which is a huge effort that across the country, not only in Michigan, is if we can develop that young player in the high school level, they will continue to play throughout. Current situation, I think we're not giving that boy golfer an opportunity to learn the game, because we're allowing them to play in March, April, May, put the clubs away in June, and then it makes it up to them whether they're going to continue forward. Not to say there aren't young boys out there playing golf all summer long, but we don't give them that option.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of go back and forth and trade points for why this should change. We haven't scripted this out. This is just off the top of our head and through conversations. And just so all of you watching know this, that all throughout the season, as I help as the assistant coach for my son's high school team, and by the way, he's graduating, so this is not a conflict of interest. He's done. But every coach, every athletic director, every golf course operator that I've spoken with has said, oh, please change it back, please. Right. Well, here are some of the reasons that we believe this should happen. And you should know up front that we've been advised that the only way the change can take place is if we go back into a federal court.
Right.
And somewhere in this nation, common sense must live.
Right.
But I don't know where it is. It's currently not where we are.
It's not here in mid-Michigan.
But let's go through some of the reasons. All right, I'll start. Reason number one, we are asking young men to fall in love with the game for life. We're asking them to fall in love with it when their experience throughout high school is you're going to play, it's 38 degrees and raining sideways. And you're probably not going to play very well because the greens haven't been mowed, because in many cases the season has just begun and it's too wet. You're playing in horrible conditions and your scores count. They count for your conference championship, they count for your standing, they count. But we want you to play it, and we want you to give you everything you have. And by the way, fall in love with this game that is played in complete misery most all of the season until maybe mid to late April. That's reason one. Number two.
Yeah, well, Bill, quick on that. You make a good point about scores. You don't even think about that. But those young individuals playing in the later part of March, 1st of April, and scoring very high, they're competing with other high school students around the country for college scholarships. Mm-hmm. And so if they don't get off to a good start, you know, it could really affect the way that their averages stack up. But point number two, when you think about their schooling, their education, a lot of times these young individuals are taking AP classes, they're taking these advanced courses to prepare themselves for college, and they literally will have to make a decision whether they're going to play their sport of golf or skip it because they have this biggest chemistry exam of their school year, and it falls on the same day. And the reason I say that is because of the season being in the spring, the matches have to start fairly early because there are leagues where in the past, when the boys played in the fall, there were no leagues. The leagues were done at Labor Day, and you had all the time where the boys could play after school. But now they have to leave school at 11, 10:30, 11 in the morning to get to the golf course to tee off so they could have their match done before the league.
So you're up against, and let me just talk from personal experience, you're up against the final exam schedule, big projects that are due, important end of year content, versus having this happen back in September where you're just getting started and you're not in competition with leagues at courses, so that you don't have to go so early. You could actually go through the end of your school day and then go and play and be done with your match by 7:30 p.m. with plenty of daylight and not have sacrificed any of your education. So that's a really good reason number 2. Here's reason number 3. Every course exists to produce revenue. So we don't have any complaint with the reality that we can't always get on the course to practice. Right now in the springtime, leagues are just starting. Most of them begin at 3 and 4 o'clock. Our kids get out of school at 3:05. So when we get to our host course, which they treat us wonderfully well, but there are many days where they say, just range today, guys, range and putting green. Now, yes, we need that practice.
Correct.
But there's no practice as valuable as live fire practice on an actual course.
Right.
We can't get that. There are a lot of times where programs all over the state are conflicting with leagues or outings, and they literally can't get on the golf course. Those events, those leagues, end at Labor Day. If the boys' golf season was in the fall, it would just be getting underway.
Right.
And the course operators would say, it's all yours,
Correct.
guys and girls.
Correct.
Next.
And so that, and just I'll add another point that remember, the first 2 weeks, your season starts in March. And how many days in March do you have good golfing weather? So as Bill said at the beginning of this,
about 3.
You spend a lot of time in the hallways, in the gymnasium, sitting in the nets. And then when you get the opportunity to play golf, there's no opportunity to play because the leagues start. So the other points with golf is it affects the other sports. So when you not only do you think of golf, but think of baseball, think of track and field. A lot of those sports will carry the same athlete and a skill set. And so we always saw more success with high school golfers in the fall because the main leading sport they'd compete against would be football. And there were some golfers that would play football, but you have more crossover with baseball and golf and track and field and golf than you would with football. So we're losing on both ends. Not only are you losing in baseball, but you're losing in golf. So the individual has to choose a sport.
Right. Next reason, this may sound a little bit familiar, but it's slightly different. I want you to think about this as a golfer. Playing all summer long. And at the end of summer, as the beginning of school approaches, now you're playing with your teammates in practice situations, but you've been playing. You've been playing through May, June, July, and August, and now you move into your season having had some reps, versus where we are right now, which says as soon as basketball ends, you have about 3 weeks until golf time. It's, by the way, you're still having snow days. There's still blizzards. There's still all sorts of weather-related issues. And so during those 3 weeks is when we're literally setting up a net in a school hallway. Think about this from the standpoint of not only the quality of the competition, but from the likelihood that that young student athlete is going to develop an affinity for the game. We're putting them in a very, you want to talk about disadvantaged? You want to talk about unfair situations? Whatever the federal judge was thinking at the time, let me walk you through some practical applications here. The young ladies get to play in the fall, which means they get to practice all summer. The guys get to hit in a school hallway and then go directly into a competition in the snow on a soaked golf course. That's disadvantageous. And so the proposal is, once again, not to flip the girls, because we don't want to disadvantage them. God forbid we disadvantage anybody in our country ever again for anything. We just want to bring the boys into the same season. Now, you're a golf course operator.
Correct.
Would that work?
That would work. That would definitely work. Actually, in the spring, I house 3 high school teams at the Emerald.
Wow.
And that's because I love the game. It's pretty tight. There's days then we have 3 teams and, like Bill said, range only, putting green only. But I do that for the love of the game and to continue to grow the love of the game. And so as that student gets an opportunity to play, I'm trying to make them love the game from March to June and hope they continue to play from June to December. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So now I look at the future of the game. Let's fast forward 15 years from now. The individual that's 18 years old right now, graduating high school, has played golf in some of the most miserable conditions for the last 3 or 4 years. At the end of June, or at the beginning of June, he may put his clubs away in the corner of the garage. And he may go play 1 or 2 times during the summer. But when he turns 33 and maybe he has his first child, and he just never developed the love of the game, who's going to teach that child how to love the game and play golf just like their parents did? And so we've got to look not only at the now, but we've got to look 15 years from now. And in Michigan, golf is a huge contributor to the economy. And by trying to solve this situation with boys golf, I think in the long run it would also help Michigan as far as golf is concerned.
And so here we go. Our thought process is to launch the effort here. It's to get the discussion moving. You need to know that this is not exaggeration, that 100% of the coaches, athletic directors, and course operators, all of them are in favor of this move. However, from what we have been told, that doesn't supersede the lack of common sense from a legal standpoint. I have no idea how or why this is, so we're going to look into some of those things. But our request for all of you is to keep the discussion going, to share this video with people that you know would be impacted by it. And in the body of this video, you'll see some links that you can click on that can help you stay connected. We're not asking you for any money or anything except to just further the discussion if you care about the game of golf, because the future of it in the state of Michigan is actually being demonstrated by the decrease in participation among young boys and young ladies in high school who are thinking to themselves, it's not worth the hassle. Why would I go out there and freeze my tail off in the spring? I don't want to play.
Right.
And you know what? As Jay just said, there they go then forever.
Yeah.
So that's our reason for the discussion. You do not, by the way, have to wear a yellow shirt to participate in the discussion. You're free to wear whatever you want.
Whatever color you like. It doesn't have to be a golf shirt either. T-shirts are optional.
All right, friends, there's the challenge. We will follow up.